Hi guys, it's me Karen from Karen's Intuitive Jewelry. I'm creating today a tree of life using soft soldering, referred to as the Tiffany method. And I'll be using this cool Birdseye Jasper. And I'm also going to patina this one, I believe. But let's just review real quick some of the supplies that you'll need. Of course, a soldering iron, and my recommendation is an FX601, and I'll start out at a setting of about 360 Celsius, which is approximately 700 Fahrenheit. I'm going to use this lead-free soft solder today by Harris. Sterling is the name of it. I prefer a liquid flux. Of course, we're going to clean our stone and any metals you might be using with some alcohol. Here's a variety of our copper foil tape, something to burnish your copper foil. I just put a little bit of flux in a bowl because I do not like to waste stuff. Today we'll be using some 24 gauge bare copper wire from the hardware store for the tree. I'll also be using, more than likely, we'll say, a 16 gauge tinned copper wire. That all this stuff I got on Amazon, but you can go directly to some of the websites if you prefer not to use Amazon. A dedicated plier. You'll need a flush cutter to cut your wire. I use this copper wire in a tin to keep my tips clean. And I also use a washcloth to help me hold down pieces, or, you know, hold the end of the stone. It was a game changer for me. I went through so many different types of clips and clothespins and different setups trying to get things positioned. And because these stones, those things work well on, say, a piece of ceramic or stained glass because it's flat. But when you're dealing with cabochons that are domed, it's a lot more difficult because they slip and slide and they don't stay in pieces because there isn't that flat surface for your clips to grab onto. So I think that's it, and we will get started. I'd just like to mention also that I am on the Buy Me a Coffee platform for creators. It's a real nice, not pressured little platform that you can make small donations to the creators. There's also now available underneath the video a little tab that says super thanks that you can donate, I think even as little as 99 cents or $1. If you find value or you'd like to help me on my journey, I'd appreciate it. I'm setting some things up as far as memberships using the Buy Me a Coffee platform. Just because after lots of research, it was the one I settled on. It charges the less or the least amount of money to the creators, and it does not take possession of my members' data, which was the selling point for me. Anyway, go check it out if nothing else. But for sure, thank you for watching, and at least leave me a thumbs up maybe and a little comment about yourself. If you're enjoying the videos, please subscribe. It helps the algorithms for sure. and share with any of your family or friends who you think might be interested in learning about this or some other projects that I have on my YouTube channel. Okay, enough about business. On with the show. Just thought I'd share a little clip of our sunset here. We get the most incredible sunsets, and I do right from my front porch because it faces west. Isn't it gorgeous? And then clear over there. Good night, sun. Now, for the wire, the 24 gauge bare copper wire, I'm going to measure about 7 inches. I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to fold it and then measure that again, right? So go to the end and then just fold it back on itself. And I'm going to do about at least six wires or 6 rotations and evaluate. So see, I did like 6 loops, rotations. I don't know what you would call them, but back and forth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get the size of the tree. And then I'm just going to go in here and cut these off, or not off, but cut them to where they're now separate wires, but I'm leaving the other ones connected down here. So I'm going to bunch these up. Use my pliers. Just kind of scrunch them all together. May not even use this very end. Let's see if I can fix the camera so I can show you. I'm going to hold this end and I'm going to twist. To make the trunk. Right, something like that. And this will go on the, I don't know, is that thick enough? I think I'm going to add another couple of rotations, maybe 2 more rotations to the mix to make it a little bit thicker. So again, I just take the end, measure it out, fold it over. That's 1, 2. Let's do a third one. And this wire got all weird because it's getting low and it got all weird in the containers. I had to cut it out. I had to cut it out of the container. Okay, let me do this off camera. Okay, so I added like 2 more lengths to this, and just twist, and you'll have to modify it. Like I untwisted this end and separated these out because I want some of these to, you know, this is where it's going to be attached at the bottom. And then these are going to be joined here and there and twisted. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and use my metal block and flatten this hump down a little bit so that it lays a little bit flatter. Okay, so you see I flatten that out a little bit. It'll lay nicer. And keep in mind, once you start putting solder on here, you're gonna lose a lot of the texture here with the lines. But I would suggest that you kind of design your branches and everything, at least get an idea of how you want them, you know, how many, the shapes, blah, blah, blah. So that when you get ready to solder, this is kind of already done, and leave yourself, you know, an inch or so off the end so that you can modify it if need be. So I'm going to go ahead and do some of that designing of the actual tree. This is fine down here for now. So it just means separating some of these, you know, wires out to form branches, and then twisting them together, either by hand or with your pliers. Twisty, twisty, twisty. And you'll check it frequently, right? So that one looks pretty good. Maybe something like that. Move that out of the way. Do some more twisty. And the cool thing about this is you can kind of, right, do some twisting, make your branch kind of, you know, crooked. Separate these out even more if you want. Combine it with another one. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. And it's just a matter of playing. See what you like. Now I do want to incorporate this little owl in here somewhere. So I got to keep that in mind before I get too far. So I'm going to continue this, okay? And this is kind of what I came up with. Put my little owl on there to see what it would look like. And these are things you really do just have to play with. I mean, you can have a general idea as to how it works, but then to get the, you know, the details, you just have to play and figure things out. So I twisted and, you know, finagled and rearranged, and now I'm going to hammer this a little bit more because this upper where I twisted was not flat, and I want it to lay as flat as possible. I can build the texture on it myself. So let me go hammer that, and then I'm going to cut these branches off significantly because, as you can see, the 6 or 7 inches that I suggested are way too much. You could go probably 4 or 5 inches, right? So I'm going to cut these off significantly so it's not such a headache. And keep in mind, I mean, it would look pretty cool if I left it copper and maybe used a copper patina around it, but I already earmarked this one in my mind anyway. I was going to put a pretty dark patina on it, so it'll be, you know, like a bark, an older tree. Okay, so let me go hammer that, and then we'll get started with soldering. And this is kind of what I'm hoping to accomplish. And I think the most complicated will be the root system, because I'm going to have to cut them off much more, right? But I want to get that anchored there, and then I can even mess with the shape of this whole trunk. So let me figure out how much more I need to cut off. I don't want to cut too much off. Like that little one there is okay. These ones are going to be a little more. These ones a little more. Again, I don't want to take too much off, so let me get this side of the trunk done. How's that sound? Okay, here we go. Let me back out a minute and get set up. I just want to give you a few tips here and there. So I just talked about cutting these shorter, and I'm just focusing on the one side. Then what I did was I took my pliers, I don't know if you could see, and I kind of bent them down and around to hug where I'm going to solder. And so it's going to be kind of like this. And if I can just get these few pieces here soldered on, then I can play with this other side. But you got to make sure this is all looking good up here. So kind of something like that. It's just this, you know, finagling stuff that takes time and patience. And you guys know I don't claim to have patience. For some reason, I do when it comes to my art. Isn't that funny? But I was not patient with my kids. Maybe I was over them by the time I needed more patience. But overall, I'm an Aries. I'm actually on the cusp. I was born April 20th at 1:02 a.m. in the morning of the 20th. So I'm on the cusp of Aries Taurus. And yeah, I could be stubborn too. But Yeah, I do have patience for this kind of stuff, but my biggest pet peeve is incompetency. That I have no patience for. And people claim to be, you know, as a specialist, or they claim to have all this knowledge and then they don't. I don't deal well with that at all. Don't say you're something when you're not. Like, I would never claim to be an experienced solderer because I am far from experienced. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's going to lay kind of as flat as I can get, because I don't really want a whole lot of bulk. But be prepared for that, because you're dealing with lots of wire, right? So I'm going to use, this is where this washcloth is, you know, a lifesaver. I am going to do my best to get it all set up and then grab it with this and brace it and then tack solder these right here. So let me get this all nice and nestled in there as best I can. And again, because when you're working with this kind of stuff and you're just tack soldering, everything doesn't get super hot. Everything gets super hot when you're building and building and building, okay? So let me clean my tip. Oh, I need to put some Flux on there. I'm going to move this washcloth up a little bit more. Clean my tip, get just a little bit of solder. There. At least that little bit's tacked down. And I want to evaluate. Okay, that's doable. And see, the stone is not hot. Hasn't gotten a chance to get hot. Okay. There's not enough solder on there for me to feel confident, but it's on there. I'm going to get a little bit more on these other ones. Like I said, you're going to have to expect some lumps and bumps from this. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut all these off while I'm here. And then push these down and check it on the front. Should I reposition that? I think I'm gonna. So that means I have to loosen this part over here off because I kind of want that more centered. That's just kind of what you do. So let me hold that with this so that when I cut that loose, hopefully it'll come right off. See? Okay. So that kind of See, that's not even hot. And the good thing about metal is it cools down real fast. So I can handle it again pretty quickly. Now, I thought that was off center. I want it more. Because keep in mind, once this is done, I can adjust this, right? I can crank that back around. It's getting this where I want it. Okay, let's give this a try. It's gonna work perfect this time. Always clean your tip. And hold that on there a minute so it melts. Right? And there's your glob you're going to have. Let's see what it looks like on this side. Yes, I'm happy with that. Okay, do I want to adjust this? I can a little bit. Make sure that's still a little hot. So I can hold it here. I'm going to crank this back around this way. They really kind of are unusual, aren't they? Okay, I'm going to work on these bottom ones first. And get the other ones out of the way. I'm going to spread these out a little bit. Something like that. And I suppose you could keep them on and just try to tack it up closer to here and then cut these off. Let's try that. That's just controlling your solder. That's why I always work with a little bit of solder and kind of use the edge. I don't know if you guys notice. If I tack it there, then I can go back and cut these off. So that's, I think, the best option. Oh, was I too close, you guys? I'm so sorry. Okay, let's work on this other side. And again, the stone, it's not hot. I can touch it because we're just barely doing anything. Okay, let me see, where are these wires? I'm sure some people can make better trees than this, but this is what I'm doing. Okay. So we're going to do that again and use these ends of these wires to help us hold it in place. Is that too uniform? I like it. I rarely get uniform, so let's go with it. Again, I'm not looking for perfection, guys. Clean my tip. Pick just a little solder up. And just drop it close to the edge. Because that's on there now. And I'm going to show you what I mean. We'll go back to this one. So because we soldered it close to the edge, we can lift this wire up and cut it off. And we won't have a lot of lumps and bumps. See how that piece was laying further down? I can now snip that up. And before I go and push that all down again, and then when it's all done, then I'm going to go around and add a bigger layer here. Oh look, that little one didn't even get soldered, but that's okay. I can do that, no problemo. Okay, so same thing with this. I can now go back and cut those off really close. Keep in mind now, if you get around to here and you put too much heat on there without having solder, it's going to loosen it, and then when you go to reapply it, you may have some problems. So how about we leave? Well, no, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off and just be mindful. And then push those edges down close to the edge. Okay, cool. It's coming along, right? I think I'm going to go stay on this side for now. And just do that right like that. Works for me. Just a little tack solder works. Okay, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to next, once I get this one on and this one, I'll be putting that little owl in here somewhere. Okay? And so this is what I've got after I tack soldered all the pieces, and we've got all these ragged edges. So now I'm just going to cut them off really close, and I'm going to go ahead and put a nice bead around here and then fill this in next. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these off. And solder a nice edge around here, and I'll be back. that one came loose. That's what I was talking about before. So let me go ahead and loosen it all the way and reattach it, hopefully successfully. Like I said, things can definitely come loose. So maybe it's a good idea to hold these things down as I go along, which I was not paying attention. Let's get that back on there. So patience, patience, patience. I love my washcloth. Okay, I'm going to continue. Here's what I got so far. Now I'm going to clean these edges up a little bit more, but I wanted everything to cool down a little bit. And then this is where your building of the layers comes in. So, right, you need to let all this cool so that when you do another layer, this first layer, like these little edges, won't pop off. So it's still a little rough, but I'm liking it. And also I've been holding the iron on there and allowing the solder to melt down in between the wires to get some of that texture back, where you can see the twisting. And then I might add some dots, like on where these are sticking up a little bit more. And then of course we got to do the bail and then patina. But it's not too bad. It's coming along. A little bit more detail work, right? But I think it's cute, and I do like the choice of the Birdseye Jasper for the background. So hopefully the patina will look cool and it won't just, you know, blend in too much. What do you guys think? I wish I could pause it and post this and ask your opinions and take a poll, which is some of the things I'm going to be doing in the membership portion of Buy Me a Coffee. That would be fun, like to take a poll, to patina or not to patina, and then go with y'all's decision. But I'm always too anxious to get the tutorials out. So I think I'm gonna patina it, but I'm gonna let things cool off. I'm thinking I'm gonna take this 18 gauge and make a twisted bail. Let's see. Let's see how that works. So I'm gonna cut off about, let's see, 5 inches, how about? And this is the tinned copper wire. And then I'm gonna fold this in half. And then smush this together. Kind of gotta do that gently, or it'll go. It won't break, but it kind of twists easily. Okay. Let's hold this and straighten this out a little bit. I'm going to try and do this by hand. Normally I would use, in fact, maybe not. Let's try using that little vise. Let me grab that. So this is called a pin vise, I guess. And it comes with, actually, it's similar in its opening to like your rotary tools or even a regular drill. All right, you put things in and you tighten it up. But it comes with 4 different sizes. Like there's 2 in this end. And then there's 2 in this end. Pretty cool. And they're inexpensive. I want to say under, I don't know, I'll say maybe $12. But again, Amazon. So I got the biggest chuck, I guess is what these are called. And I'm going to take and cut these, make them flush. Stick them down in here. Tighten this up. Hopefully this will work. But I was saying, usually I use a regular drill. But I don't feel like going and getting it. Let's see if it's going to work. No, it's not tight enough, I don't think. Well, maybe I can make it work. Let me try this off camera. It kept slipping in that chuck, so I'm just going to do it by hand. You just take 2 pliers and twist it. Yes, I could go get my drill, but I'll have it done by the time I went and got it. And I'm kind of doing this with the thought of that it'll almost mimic. Maybe I should have used a smaller gauge. Pardon me. It might mimic the twisted branches is what I'm thinking. I don't know. I don't know how it'll look. We'll see. Let me twist it a little bit more for a tighter twist, and I'll be back. Okay, there's that. And so I'm going to use my ring mandrel to get a nice arc, a little shape. Since this is kind of a big piece. So that's what I'm thinking, is that kind of bail. So I'm going to cut this off to where it'll match up on the edges here, and then I'm going to flatten it. I'm going to hammer the edges so that, again, I won't have these ginormous lumps. There will be, you know, some raised areas where these are, unless I did them on the side. So I'll evaluate that in a moment. Okay, so I opted to attach it on the back since I'm gonna have, you know, some dots on this side of the piece. I don't want another glob on here, though I suppose I could. Again, it'd be nice to get y'all's opinion, but for now, I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. So let me get that set up. Okay, and I opted to put it on the back. And admittedly, this is the hardest part for me. Not so much getting it on there, but getting it on straight. And that's why I have found that doing the tack soldering, which is just a little dab, just enough to hold it on there so you can evaluate it, is the way to go. Because if it is crooked, then you only have a little dot like that instead of a big glob, right? So that's on there, and that's on there. Let's have a look and see how I did. I think it's a little crooked, but I don't think it's a big enough deal to worry about. Okay, cool. And I like that effect. It kind of does fit in with the theme. So I'm gonna now finish this up as far as putting some decorative dots over some lumpy areas and you know, smoothing this out on the back and all that good stuff. So let me do that and I will be back. And this is what I've come up with. I cleaned the edges up, I added some decorative dots, I attached the bail, and I did a thicker rim around here, blending the edges of the bail. Now I'm going to let it cool a few minutes. I'm going to wash it up with some Dawn dish soap and warm water with a toothbrush, and then let it dry real good. And then I'm going to add the black patina, and we'll, fingers crossed that it looks good and it doesn't just blend in, because I think it looks pretty good silver. But when you do a patina, you're kind of committed. I mean, yeah, you could scrub-a-dub all of that patina off and redo all the soldering and everything, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm hoping that the black, and I'm going to go for a real dark black, and then just sand and buff the little dots in some of the tree. So we'll see. I'm going to try not and get too much patina on that little owl, because I don't want them to all turn black. Anyway, okay, let me let it, it's cooling already, so let me go wash it up. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, the other thing I don't really want to get the patina on is this bail, because to get some of the highlight back, I'll have to take you know, some steel wool, or I like to use the wet dry sandpaper. And once you do that with this tinned wire, you could expose the copper. So I don't really want to do that, really, if I don't have to. And I don't use much of this stuff. That's probably way too much. But trying to get it back in the bottle, as they say, is like a genie. Okay, let me put the cap back on this so we don't have any accidents. And I'm gonna hold this, and I have a little brush. There we go. And you'll see it starts turning immediately. It almost looks like it's gonna kind of fade in, doesn't it? Darn. Okay, let me continue. Okay, let me go wash it and buff it up. So you guys, wow. I tell ya, I surprised myself. I love this. I think it turned out fantastic. Wow. What do you guys think? I really, really like this. I didn't think I was going to like the patina, especially after I put it on. But once I cleaned it up and buffed it, you know, the highlights and all that good stuff, man, I really like it. I think it's awesome. And the edges look good. There's no rough edges. Well, here's one little piece here I could clean up with a little diamond coated file. Where is it now? That's why I always wear my pieces, usually for the whole day, like after I create them, to look for any of those kinds of things. Yeah, fabulous! Yay me! Come on, you guys. I want to see you make one. Do it. And then instant message me. I want to see your creations, you guys. Come on. You can do it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And once again, if you find value in my tutorials and you'd like to support my channel, I welcome that. And I will be most grateful. And I will continue to add things as I go. I'm so grateful for you guys. I think I'm going to do a beginner's tutorial, and hopefully it won't be too long, but this will be in honor of, and I'm going to cry. I just got word earlier today that a dear friend of mine's mom, who I had gotten super close to over the last few years, she kind of became a second mom to me after I lost my mom. She just passed away Sunday evening. Sheila, this one's for you. She supported my jewelry creations, basically anything I did. She was a wise woman, and funnier than all get out. We will all miss her, but we're so happy that you're now on the other side and out of pain and with your other loved ones. So Godspeed, Miss Sheila. Love you. And this one will be in honor of Sheila. Okay, guys, until next time, I appreciate you. Bye.